Welcome to the Blackhawks Breakaway Podcast, brought to you by Toyota. Toyota has more all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles than any other brand. Find yours and shine on. Toyota, let's go places. We are joined on this podcast by the one and only Blackhawks legend, three-time Stanley Cup champion, Patrick Kane. How you doing, Patrick?
Hey, Pat. Thanks for having me, bud.
Well, it's a big week. Friday, 8/8. It's going to be officially Patrick Kane Day in the city of Chicago. It starts out at Johnny's Ice House West with a youth hockey clinic. And then at 11:30, Chicago Sports Museum in the Water Tower Place for an autograph session. And then it finishes at Morgan Manufacturing with a VIP reception, food and drinks, a Q&A, stories about a lot about the Cup years. And I've got some texts out to some former teammates of yours. We'll see if they chime in as well. Go to eventbrite.com for more on this. First of all, just why'd you decide to do this, and what are you looking forward to on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, first and foremost, the way everything just kind of abruptly ended with my time in Chicago, obviously, being traded to New York, and then I had surgery that summer on my hip, and then, I was kind of going through my rehab and everything, and then picking a team I wanted to play for, end up going to Detroit, and, just being there for a couple of years and just kind of, thinking about the city of Chicago in the back of my mind. I wanted to give back a little bit and just kind of have a chance to, have a time and place where we can kind of reminisce a little bit and talk about some of the great times we had here in Chicago when I was playing here. But Chicago, I think, really holds a great place in my heart. The city, the people, the fans. I feel like everyone in Chicago has always had my back through some great times and some tough times as well. So just kind of wanted to give back a little bit and just have a day to reminisce and talk about some great times.
I know a lot of people looking forward to it. Again, it's this Friday, 8/8. Go to eventbrite.com for more on that. And portions of the proceeds will be donated to 1616.org, which is Andrew Ladd's charity focusing on mental, physical, and social well-being for youth hockey players. So a great cause there. I can't believe you're getting ready for year 20 in the National Hockey League. It's incredible. And I know we're going to reminisce a lot on Friday about the 16 seasons and all the great times here in Chicago. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what you started with the last 3 years, the Rangers, the hip surgery, and then the last 2 seasons in Detroit. What has been this portion of the hockey journey been like for you?
I think it's been great. It's been cool in a lot of ways. I think, just going to New York and having that experience of playing at MSG in New York for the Rangers, obviously was something totally different than, what I was used to in Chicago, and nice to kind of get a different experience. And then, I think there's certain situations in your career where you kind of go through some things and need to face some adversity. And that was definitely one of them with my hip. I didn't really know what the right path was and what to do going into that season when I was with Chicago and got traded to New York. The year before I had, I think like 92 points around there. I was playing with DeBrincat and Strome. So I was thinking, I could play like this. I could, still kind of fit in and make plays and produce and maybe not be as dynamic and electric as maybe I was before, but still can kind of play at a high level. And then, there was a lot of changes, different things with the organization where, we traded some guys out and we wanted to rebuild and really just a different team from top to bottom. So I didn't have a great season with Chicago, and then, kind of struggled a little bit when I was in New York, even though there were some great moments there as well. But just decided it was time to really do something with my hip, and, opted for the resurfacing surgery and really put a lot of time and effort into my rehab after I had the surgery, and, being in Connecticut for a month. And then I was in Toronto the rest of the summer, rehabbing with a guy by the name of Ian McIntyre. And doing all my skating down there. So, after that, it was just like, what's the best fit for me? Where can I go, to play for a team where, obviously you want a chance to win, but where I can fit in and play and produce and feel like myself again. So, I'm really, really feeling good on the ice now and, happy with all my decisions. You look back, I mean, things could have went maybe better here or there, but all in all, I think they've been really great experiences and happy with the way everything's gone.
I think back to that last season in Chicago, and, you didn't let on the pain that you were in, but you couldn't push off on that leg. And I heard after you left that there were times that you would stay for treatment at the United Center till all hours of the night. And it had to be the thing that stuck out to me is you love the game so much. And when you were taking maintenance days for practice, I was like, this guy is, this is just out of character for him. So as you look back on that, I mean, this has to feel like a new lease on your hockey life to have that pain behind you and able to do the things that we've been accustomed to and you've been accustomed to doing for so long.
No, I think you hit it on the head right there. I mean, one of the things about the game is I love to practice. I love to be out there, after practice, messing around, working on things. And that was it was something going out for practice every day that was just really a grind. And it was like, just get through practice with maybe not any hiccup here or there with the hip, and it was, there was a lot of things that, maybe weren't, working as well, but I mean, I really couldn't turn one way. I couldn't cross over left over right. So it's kind of hard to play when you're, thinking about not being able to go a certain way or thinking about your limitations on the ice instead of just playing the game, right? The game's tough enough as it is. If you're thinking about something that's wrong with your body, it's really tough to play that way. So, for me, since the surgery, I haven't missed a practice because of the hip. I haven't missed a game because of the hip. So, it's really been great in that regard where, like you said, I mean, you're pain free and you're not dealing with that pain on a day-to-day basis. And, obviously it's tough physically, but it's almost more mentally exhausting just having to worry about it and think about it and just feel it all the time. So, definitely in a good place, happy to be back in Detroit for the third year and, try to keep getting better. Right. I mean, I know, like you said, it's you're going into a lot of years here in the NHL, but it's a situation where you're always trying to improve, work on things over the summer, get the body feeling as good as possible. And hopefully have a great year.
And you're always looking for, things to motivate you. Is trying to make that Olympic team part of your to-do list?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have an orientation camp coming up here at the end of August, so it'll be fun to take part in that. Obviously, excited I got invited to that. So, listen, I didn't have a great start to the year last year, so, you kind of understand the decision not to be picked for the Four Nations team. I finished really strong right after the coaching change in Detroit. That really helped me to, we were playing more aggressive. We were playing more on our toes, and that really helped my game a lot. And then, obviously this year, need to get off to a good start again to have a chance, and a lot of good players, a lot of good, American-born players. So, we'll see what happens, but it would definitely be a privilege and an honor to be on that team and try to compete for the gold.
I know the coaching change seemed to bring a spark to the Red Wings last year. Hawks made a coaching change in Jeff Blashel, former Red Wing coach. I know he coached you in the Worlds. What are the Blackhawks getting in Coach Blashel?
Well, I think first and foremost, he's going to be someone that's going to, hold the players accountable. I played for him in 2 world championships, and I remember like one of our first video sessions, he came like right at me, and really, I think it's a good message too, right? Like you come at some of your top players, and you realize like, okay, like this guy's not going to be able to get away with something, or I can't do that just because of, who I am or the way I play. I mean, you always hear stories about like Belichick going at Brady, right? And then it kind of forces everyone to, think like, okay, he's going at Tom Brady. Like, this guy's, the greatest football player of all time. Obviously, like, I better get, in line too and make sure I'm doing the right thing. So, I think that's one of the things with him. He's going to keep guys accountable. Very smart hockey mind. I've actually talked to him a lot over the course of, different seasons, different times throughout the year. Just saying hi to him when we played, against him in Detroit or down in Tampa, and talking to him about hockey. So he's got a great hockey mind, and, he's going to be a tough coach. And I think for, a younger team, to make sure guys are doing the right things and playing the right way. Obviously, coming from Tampa, like, they've had a lot of success as an organization. He probably, seen a lot of things that were done right in that organization. So I'm sure he'll bring a lot of that to Chicago. And I think he's like perfect coach for the young group that they have. Like, keep them accountable, make sure they're playing the right way, and try to develop the kids too, right, into some players. I mean, there's a lot of draft picks. You got to figure some of these guys are going to emerge and be top players. So, hopefully it's not too long for the Blackhawks to be, competing for a playoff spot again.
One of the surprising stories this offseason is the return of Jonathan Taves to the National Hockey League after missing the last 2 seasons. He'll go to his hometown in Winnipeg. It was great to see him at the podium and have that smile on his face. I know you've talked to him. What do you think about this comeback, and what have you guys discussed?
No, it's great. I'm so happy for him. I think, as we all know, he was dealing with some things physically, and it seems like that's kind of behind him and in the past, and sounds like he's feeling really good. I saw him a little bit when he was in Chicago here about a month ago, and talked to him a lot about where he's at and where his head's at, and seems like he's just excited to play hockey again. And obviously, being from Winnipeg, playing for the Jets, for a team that he was rooting for growing up, I think is exciting for him too. So definitely happy to see him back, and be fun to play against him for the first time in the NHL. Obviously, we played against each other in the Olympics, and different international tournaments, but it'll be fun to play against them.
New Year's Eve in the Motor City, first head-to-head meeting outside of the Olympics and international competition. I think there's going to be some money on the board for that game.
Yeah, we got to make sure we come away with the win on that one.
How about some of your friends and former teammates? You got Seabrook, who's in a player development role with Calgary. 𝗵𝗂 in a similar situation with the Flyers. Dunk's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Taves, as we mentioned, to Winnipeg. How much do you communicate with these guys when, like, certain milestones like that happen, the Hall of Fame and, taking a job with Calgary and so on and so forth?
Yeah, definitely reach out to them. I think, when I came back for that first game, coming back to Chicago and just seeing them there when I was walking into the game was really, very, very big surprise for me, and just like incredible to walk in and see, Siebes there and 𝗁𝗁cie and 𝗵𝗂 and Dunks, and just talk to them like, a couple minutes before the game, and like we've been together every day, even though we haven't the last, however long it's been that we haven't played with each other. But those are some of my best friends, right? And I could say at one point or the other, like all those guys, I would have thought like they were my best friend. And Seabrook still calls a lot. Sometimes he's a little bit too long on the phone. He likes to keep chatting about the glory days, the 2010, 2013, 2015 Cups. But, still great to talk to them. I mean, 𝗵𝗂 was like a big brother to me. Like he was hard on me, but he was, one of my best friends too. Like we always had a lot of fun together, and always pushed each other too. Like there's always some type of inner competition there that I really enjoyed. Same with Taser too. Like we pushed each other a lot. Like if he would score, like I feel like I always had to produce too, just to make sure I was doing my part, right? And then 𝗁𝗁cie, I think he was a guy that I sat next to in the locker room for a long time. Like, I played center for a year. He was my winger. It was so fun playing with him. Just like a perfect human being, and seeing the way he worked and how good a shape he was in, and, how productive he was, even when he got older, was incredible. And then, 𝗏𝗀𝗏 was always someone I had a lot of chemistry with too, on the ice, off the ice. I sat with him my first couple of years, on the plane when we were going on the road. So it was fun to get to know him and talk to him, and be with him every time we were heading on the road. And for him to be going into the Hall of Fame, it's so deserving. Not really surprising, but still pretty incredible that, some of these guys that you played with and, achieved so much with are moving on and doing different things, right? They're starting other chapters of their life. But just great friends. That core was just something special. So sometimes I don't want to say we didn't really, realize what we had, but I think we were kind of naive and maybe a little bit too young and stupid, I guess, to realize like what we were achieving. But we were always pushing each other. And that's one thing that I'll always say. Every game, there was some type of battle on the bench, and, it was just the way it was. We expected so much from each other. And the best part about it was after the game, you just kind of laugh about it and brush it off. And it was like, nothing ever happened, but there was definitely a desire and a drive to win every night and to be the best we could be.
Yeah, you don't see that as much in the NHL nowadays. Players calling each other out. I know for myself, you talk about being naive. It's like, I think fans, broadcast, we're all naive. We're all caught up in that whirlwind. And for me, watching Florida over the past couple of years, it's made me think back to the run and how damn difficult it is. Yeah. And yet, how you got to have that special bond that they seem to have and that you guys certainly had. Like when you see a team like that over the last couple of years, does it make you kind of reminisce more and go back to like, we had that, and I can see the role that Tkachuk has. We had that type of player.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes even to the point where it was like, what could we have done to make it go on even longer, right? But at the same time, you got to enjoy what you accomplished. One of the things I'll always say about our group is, we always hung out with each other. Like after games, we would, the younger guys would go and meet some of the, older guys that had families and were married. And then, we would hang out with them, and then we'd kind of do our own thing, but it was like, we were always hanging out with each other, and nothing was ever forced for us to like, have some type of team bonding or something like that. It was just so natural. And you can kind of see that with Florida a little bit too. Like, it seems like every type of relationship with different players seems pretty genuine, right? And I think that's, if you can find a group that mixes well together like that, and it's not like a forced relationship, that's where, I think you can have a lot of success. So, but I agree with what you said, Pat. It's like, you have that camaraderie off the ice. I think it does translate over to the ice. I can even say that with, someone like DeBrincat. Like, we're really good friends off the ice. We push each other. We, sometimes we get mad at each other. Sometimes we fight. But at the same time, we have that relationship where, I think we're such good friends and we want to do well with each other and play well with each other on the ice. It kind of translates well. So, it's a big part of it.
Yeah, I remember one of the first time the cameras caught DeBrincat chirping back at you. I think everybody, like, I liked seeing it, because it told me a lot about Alex.
Yeah.
And just like you guys want to be coached hard and whatever. It's like every once in a while you're good. You're good with the give and take. And at the end of the game's over, and, we set our piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that. It was in Ottawa. And I think he got the puck in the slot and took a shot, and I felt like I was open. So we were kind of giving it to each other a little bit back and forth. And then I think I passed 𝗵𝗏 𝗟𝗏 maybe in points that game. And everyone's coming up to me, congratulating me. And I could tell he was still like a little bit pissed at me. So he was like the last guy to come up and say congratulations. But then we were just kind of laughing about it, right? So, I mean, the funny part is like, it's not a big deal to us, but of course, like, like you said, the cameras catch it and people see it and, they have their own assumptions and think like, maybe this is a big deal, but it really isn't. Like that probably happened so many times. And even like, that's happened a lot with, Panarin when he first came into Chicago too. Like we kind of give it to each other a lot. And he would tell me stories where he would go home at night and think about like coming in, like he wanted to like fight me. And I would be like, hey, what's up, 𝗦𝗏𝗏, and he would be like, not really understanding what was going on because, he thought we were like fighting from the night before, but then, I would be good with him and he would, kind of snap out of it and be good with me right after that. But, yeah, I mean, I think you need a little bit of that. Like, I could, like we talk about, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏, 𝗙𝗏𝘃, 𝗍𝗏𝘃, like there was definitely some battles, on the bench, off the ice, in the locker room. And I think it just kind of makes you stronger and, shows one another that you have that desire to win and that you want it.
Well, it certainly looks like the chemistry and the bond you have with DeBrincat has made the transition to Detroit much easier for you. And who has better chemistry, you and Cat, or your son and his son Archie? Because they've become media darlings.
Yeah, I know. You know what? They really have fun with one another, and maybe they have a similar relationship to me and Alex. I always hear they're fighting in the family room. They're like, play a hockey fighting. So, and then they're just like two peas in a pod. They love going down to warm-ups. They love coming, into the hallway and giving the players knocks. They stand with each other. They point out when their dads come in. Patrick will be pissed off if I don't give him a puck because Archie got a puck from Alex. So there's always I guess some inner competition with them too, but they have a blast together. And they're actually coming to Chicago this week. So it'll be fun to get them back together and have them hang out.
That's great. I tell you, if you're not following the Red Wings on Instagram or on X, it's you'll see a lot of Patty Boy and Archie, and it seems like it's at the beginning it was kind of just the two of them, and now it's like all the other players' kids. It's become a thing.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely, they got a good situation there with the families where players can come off the ice after warm-ups and they're allowed to stand there and give the players knocks and just be there and see the guys, right? I know my son, since he's been in Detroit, like he's really started to love the game of hockey. So, he gets excited when 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Raymond comes off the ice or Dylan Larkin comes off the ice or Mo Seider, because he likes those guys as hockey players. So he's excited to kind of be a fan and be that close to him and have some type of interaction with him too.
Connor Bedard just turned 20 in July. He's worked on increasing his speed this summer, changed the flex in his stick. What have you seen from him on the ice? And, as someone who was a number 1 overall pick, and what advice do you have for Connor as he gets ready for season 3?
Yeah, I mean, I look back at my career. I had a really strong start my rookie year. I had a decent second year, but, maybe kind of left myself and some people wanting a little bit more. And then the third year, I took a really big step into the league. So I'm sure you could probably expect the same with Connor. I'm sure there's some expectations on him. He's not really, I guess he's still a young kid, but he's got some experience in the league now, and he's probably understanding a little bit more of what to expect on a nightly basis, whether it's the defense he's playing against or the schedule or the travel or, maybe how to take care of your body throughout the year. I mean, there's definitely some phases when I was younger where, you feel like you hit a little bit of a wall, right? And it might be, 5, 6, 7 games, but you don't want to have that slump during the season. That hurts your production that hurts your numbers, that hurts the way you're helping the team. So I'm sure he's probably figured out a lot about that. And, like you said, you realize things you have to work on too, whether it's, foot speed, skating, shot. Like I had to work on my strength a lot when I was that age, just to, be able to hold guys off a little bit and be able to create some separation so you have a second or two to make a play. And, he's a player that if he gets time and space, like he's going to make good plays. Like I think we've all seen him play enough where he's got moments throughout the game where he has the puck, where he makes plays that you're like, okay, not many guys can do that, whether it's a move or a pass or the way he shoots the puck. So, I think he's got a really bright future. And, if I was a Blackhawks fan or someone in the organization, that would probably be the last of my worries, because, he's a great player, but it also seems like he cares a lot too. Like he wants to be good. So that's half the battle as well.
And just like you talked about earlier, the internal competition that you guys had in Chicago, I don't think we've seen a ton of that yet.
Yeah.
But we're starting, like Frank Nazar looks like a guy that I could see that the give and take, the internal competition between two players like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually been skating with that Nazar a little bit this summer, and he's impressive. Like I think he's got like an extra gear, and he's a confident player. Like he competes in practice. He wants to win at the games that we're playing. I've actually had a little chemistry with him too, like making plays. So you can see like he can read plays and give you a pass back, right? So I think it looks like he's got like a chance to be like a really productive star too, right? Where you can have that 1-2 punch if you have Bedard, and then Nazar on different lines, kind of like myself and Taser, right? When we played together a lot when we were younger, but then once we got into the 2010 years, like we were split up. We played on different lines. We played together every now and then, but I think it was nice to kind of have that 1-2 punch. So if they can push each other and really have that 1-2 punch, I think that's going to help them for a long time.
We've seen great athletes play into their 40, Brady, LeBron. We're seeing in the National Hockey League guys playing into their late 30s and pushing 40. Have you set a goal for how long you want to play?
No, I don't think there's really a goal. I mean, I think what did I do this year? I think I played my 1300th game. So, I mean, it would be nice to get to, around 1500. I think that would be something I can shoot for. And you know what? I think that's very possible too. I think I can play, especially with the way I'm feeling now. I think I can keep playing until I either don't love it anymore. I really feel like the production is going down and I'm not really the same player, but I feel pretty good. I'm happy with where I'm at. Like my hip feels really good with, this, especially this summer. So, excited about what I can accomplish next year and the way I can play. And, we'll see. I don't want to say we'll take it year to year, but, you got to know the reality of the situation too, right? I'll be turning 37 this year, and I would love to keep playing into my 40s. Obviously, that would be amazing too, especially for me. But it would be nice, for my son too, right? To keep watching me play. My family, they love it. They love being part of it. I know my dad, like he still loves coming to the games and watching on TV. So, obviously, you want to do it for yourself, and obviously the family comes into it too, but they're still loving it too. So, play as long as I can.
Yeah, I always think back to the picture of you and your dad with Sylvain's, Topps card, and you're in the background, and kind of like how you were, you grew up here in Chicago, and everybody would bring kids in, and you always spent time with them. To now have it where your kid is in the dressing room, it's a full circle moment, and it's cool how excited you are to see the game through his eyes a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's such a great feeling when we win, or we're playing an afternoon game and the team plays well and we win, and I can bring him back downstairs after the game and just mess around with him in the locker room. He can see the players. He can talk to guys. It's really a fun part of it, especially when, a couple of years ago, I was like, this kid doesn't like hockey. Like he doesn't want anything to do with it. And I was getting a little, not pissed off about it, but you're like a little bit like,
Dad's a hockey nerd. So if he didn't like it, you wouldn't have that togetherness on the couch watching games on off night.
Yeah, exactly. So, now, especially as he's gotten older here, he's really started loving the game, and, we're starting to get him on the ice a little bit more, and, he's really enjoying it. So it's a fun age, he's 4 right now. So, hopefully I could play a few more until he gets a little bit older. And then, maybe when I'm done, I can just go and watch him instead of him watching me,
Well, hopefully we'll see him this week. It's Patrick Kane Day, 8/8, youth clinic in the morning on Friday, autograph session midday at Chicago Sports Museum, and then a night with Patrick Kane at Morgan Manufacturing. I'm looking forward to it, Patrick. Thank you for doing this. Go to eventbrite.com for tickets for that, and I'll see you on Friday.
Yep, sounds good, Pat. Thanks.